Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and today we are looking at a whole bunch of new makeup. So these are all things that I have already been testing out, some of them just for a few days, like the Charlotte Tilbury blushes. I believe this is my fourth day wearing those. So, we're going to take a look at those. But we also have the Cle de Peau new cushion foundation, which I've actually been using for over 2 weeks now. So I've got quite a few different tests to show you, comparisons and so forth. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start off with this foundation. So the foundation comes in a fairly large size box. We'll look at some product details in a minute. It does have a little sleeve. This is the same kind of fabric that Cle de Peau always uses. I personally don't like that fabric at all. But then we have the packaging here. So this is plastic. It is refillable. They are already selling refills. I wear shade I-10, very light ivory. We have 15 grams of product. When you open it up, you have a mirror at the top. And then on the little tray, you have your sponge. And you can see that the shape of this is meant so you can go around the eye here, and I really like that. So this is kind of a flat press sponge. It actually performs really well. I'll show you application with the brush and the sponge in just a minute. When we open it up, here's the actual cushion here, and the older cushion is in a round container. This one is in a square container, and when you get this, the cushion is actually in a separate little packaging. I believe I have a demo of this opening, so I'll just cut to that in a second. But when you're ready to refill, you just pop this out through here, which, there we go. So I don't want to pop it all the way out because it's a little messy to put back in, but this will just pop out. You just punch it through on the back. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual packaging of this and some demos while we talk about some details and my thoughts on this foundation. All right, so I picked up the new Cle de Peau Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy, and I have shade I-10. This came out last year in other countries, but it was just released in the US, and I was gonna just go ahead and put it on, but I wanted to show you how it came packaged. So you have a puff here. Notice you kind of have like a little cut out there, and then cushion, and then in this little pouch, this is the packaging. So very nice packaging. It's square. The previous version had round packaging. So that's one of the ways you can tell that you're definitely purchasing the new one versus the old one. We're looking at square versus round. So let me put those together. So there's plenty of product on this. So I'm going to actually start with this today, but you can see that this cushion definitely has, a lot of product in it. Sometimes when I get a cushion foundation, it looks, like it's already kind of, it doesn't look as saturated. This definitely looks saturated, but I think this will be plenty of product today. So I'm going to try this out, and I'm going to use a brush with this product today. So we're not going to use any primer. I have skincare on from, at this point, it's several hours ago, and I'm using the Fupa 02 brush from Koh Gen Do, and let's just go ahead and put this on, and let me bring you in closer. So I still have this much left on here. I'm not going to use all of this today. Let's add just a little bit more here so you can kind of see it built up. But I think I'm going to put this back in the container and save it for another day to really kind of use that up. And yeah, overall though, this is how it goes on. We'll test with primer tomorrow, but I think it gives a really nice soft radiance. It's definitely not as radiant as the Cle de Peau Natural Radiant Foundation. This one. So it's definitely not as radiant as this. And let me bring you in just a little bit closer so you can see even more. So this is what it looks like from a distance, and I'll let you know how this goes. All right, so it has been 5.5 hours since applying the Cle de Peau cushion. Again, no primer or anything. I did add some blush and highlight, but I did not powder or touch the rest of my skin. So I'm gonna bring you in closer so you can see how this has performed. So overall, you can see everything has held up well. It has gotten a bit more radiant, I think, since I applied it. It just looks a little bit shinier to me, and I notice it more like kind of around my chin, mouth area. So overall, it's held up well, but I just don't think it looks quite as good. But we're going to use it with a primer tomorrow, and we'll do a longer wear test then as well. So this foundation from Cle de Peau, it's the Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy, and it's new here in the US. It was released in some other countries last year. So it's brand new for us here in the US, but some of you may already have this. And this retails for $105 and the refills are $75. We have 15 grams of product here, and this has a 2-year shelf life on here. And you can always find that by looking at the little product symbol that looks kind of like a container with a propped open lid. You can look at the number of months that is in there, and that will tell you once it's opened how long it is good for, as an estimate. These are always just estimates. So this product is made in Japan, and according to Cle de Peau, it says, define your most radiant, most colorful life. It's a cushion foundation inspired by the radiance of a diamond, deeply moisturizes for an instantly dewy finish with buildable coverage and glow. It's a hybrid of makeup and skincare. Of course, they have their light empowering enhancer complex, which is a patented complex that they use in pretty much, I think, in all of their products. And so that will be in here. And we also have the Skin Empowering Illuminator, which has their exclusive skincare ingredients. And one other thing to note, when you are closing this compact, you don't have to snap into place the little tray that's in there. That will snap in automatically to seal it and keep it fresh once you close the lid to the compact. Now, according to Cle de Peau, this is going to create a flawless finish reminiscent of a fresh morning dew lasting for 16 hours. And I do have a couple of wear tests to show you. So I have a wear test showing you the Cle de Peau on its own, but I also wanted to do a comparison with my favorite cushion foundation, the Sisley Fido LeBlanc cushion. So let's take a minute and first just go through the Cle de Peau, and then we'll take a look at the Sisley and the Cle de Peau comparison here. So for me, what I am observing with this, I feel like it still looks radiant on the skin. It doesn't feel greasy or anything. Texturally, it still feels the same. I don't feel any sort of like oil, bleeding through or anything. And yeah, I did not put any powder on today, but it looks radiant, doesn't feel greasy. Yet I feel like it actually looks better than it did in the test without the primer. I feel like the primer really helped keep it look a little fresher. They both appeared very radiant, especially at the end of the day. I feel like this looks a little bit less, whereas the other one looked like I had some oil breakthrough, particularly around the mouth. And I feel like, this is a longer wear test even, and it looks better than it did at the end of yesterday's. So let me know what you think, if you agree with what you see on the camera, but that's how I'm perceiving it. I feel much better about it with the primer on. Now, as you can see with application of this foundation, it goes on very nicely, very smoothly. It's about medium coverage, so you could definitely sheer it out for a light coverage foundation, and you can build it up to a true medium, but I would not consider this full coverage even when you continue building upon there. They definitely have more full coverage foundations in the Cle de Peau line, so if you're looking for something truly full coverage, this would not be that. It definitely gives you a glowy look to your skin. However, this is not going to be as radiant as the Cle de Peau Radiant Natural Fluid Foundation. So that will be a little bit more radiant than this. This is more dewy than Radiant. So it's a little more subtle. Now, just something to note, this is formulated with a delicate natural rose fragrance. I would have to say that it's not really all that noticeable or strong to me. So it's definitely going to be one of the more subtle fragrances, but it's going to be similar to other Cle de Peau products. So if you have issues with Cle de Peau foundations, the fragrances in them, stay away from this as well. Now, just a few more claims from Cle de Peau about this foundation. The Light Empowering Enhancer, which again is going to be that complex that's patented by Cle de Peau. This gives a naturally radiant finish by creating light diffusion and reflection. So it's supposed to be in and within the skin. It's supposed to help minimize the appearance of skin imperfections and amplifies your radiant makeup finish. So I would have to say, I find all of Cle de Peau's base products to really, reflect and diffuse light very well. I think they are some of the best looking foundations on my skin on the market. So they're always a go-to brand for me. And I find that their color range is very good for my particular complexion. They also have the Dewy Rich Hydrating Formula in here, which is supposed to, again, we have 16 hours of the actual foundation lasting without like creasing and so forth on the skin, but it's also supposed to provide a 24-hour moisturizing effect. I have to say, I really, separating skincare and makeup, I don't really notice skincare benefits per se from this, but I did wear this every day for about 2.5 weeks now. We also have the Glow Control technology, which is supposed to help make sure that your finish is very even when you go and reapply it. So it's not going to look like super glowy in certain spots and a little bit more matte in others. Everything is supposed to kind of even out. And they also have the Skin Empowering Illuminator, which is supposed to enhance your skin's ability to basically protect and restore itself from environmental aggressors. That's taken directly from the Cle de Peau website. Now, although I don't see any SPF listed anywhere on the box here, so it's not going to be rated for SPF protection, one of the very first ingredients is titanium dioxide, and it's going to be like nanoparticles. So just something to note that there is going to be a little bit of titanium dioxide in here. So if that's something that you have issues with, it is something to note. And there are, the very first ingredient here is dimethicone. So we are looking at a silicone-based product. Now, as for how this foundation performs, I have to say, I think it really performs very nicely. I think this is a great cushion foundation. Again, you're looking at light to medium coverage. It's definitely buildable to a true medium finish. It holds up all day. And, I didn't go all the way to 16 hours, but I did get close to that a few times. And it really did hold up well. The only times I had issues were like on days where perhaps I was eating I had Chinese food the one day and I got something on my face, wiped it away with a napkin. That did move it. It did the same thing to the Sisley foundation that you'll see in the Sisley Cle de Peau Wear Test. So, that's going to happen regardless of the product. So I think everything holds up really well. It still looks very fresh. It doesn't get creasy looking. It doesn't really fade. And no, it's not transfer proof, but I would say that there is minimal transfer when wearing a mask. One of the best things about this foundation is the ease of use. So it's very, very easy to use, very fast to apply. If you are somebody who doesn't have a lot of time in the morning, I think this is a really great product for that. And I love the shape of the sponge applicator that comes with this because of the way it has that cutout around the eye. You can get your foundation right up under there. You could even skip concealer. And I think, for me, when I've been doing that, I skipped concealer like half the time. So I really love the shape of that. I think it is, it's just another plus to this foundation. Now let's talk about how this compares to my favorite cushion, the Sisley Fido Blanc Le Cushion. Now I love the Sisley cushion foundation. This does come in a round container. I wear shade 00C Swan in here. And I would have to say that this 00C Swan is still just slightly deeper than the Cle de Peau I-10. So the Cle de Peau is actually a little bit better color match for me than the Sisley. But, the Sisley Sisley is such a great foundation. I really love it. So just something to note here, the Sisley is a refillable product as well. However, they do not sell refills in the United States. So I had to purchase my refill from Selfridges. I love it enough that I have already purchased a refill. I am using that refill. And if you purchase the foundation here in the United States, it's $155 US. Now, we do have 15 grams of product, which is the same amount of product as the Cle de Peau foundation. So just something to note, we are looking at the same amount of product, but the Sisley is $50 more for the foundation, and refills again are not easily accessible. So it has been 8 hours and 20 minutes since I applied the foundations. I had not added anything else to my skin, but I did have like an oily salad dressing earlier and some got on my face here. So it did kind of remove a little bit of the foundation there. This side here is Cle de Peau. This side here is Sisley. Let's take a closer look. So let me know which one you prefer down below in the comments. Thank you. Now I'd have to say that the Sisley does build up to a slightly higher coverage level than the Cle de Peau. The Cle de Peau, when you first put that on, your first layer is slightly more sheer than the Sisley. And even when you build it up, the Sisley just goes to a little bit more full coverage than the Cle de Peau. Other than that, I would have to say they both hold up really well. They both look great on the skin. They both diffuse light. I think they're both fantastic products. Which one do I prefer? Personally, the Sisley still just has a slight edge for me. I think it just looks a little bit better overall in finish on my skin. I don't know. It could be in my head, but the Sisley is still my favorite. However, it's very close. And I would have to say, like, based on the cost difference and the ease of, availability and so forth here in the United States, the Cle de Peau could be a better option. One thing to note, the Cle de Peau line definitely has more shades available in their foundation than Sisley. Sisley only has 5 shades and Cle de Peau has 7 shades. So neither of them have a ton of different shades available for this particular foundation, but Cle de Peau has a slightly larger range. None of them are very deep though for either of these cushion foundations. And again, cushion foundations, they're really very, very popular in Asian countries. And for that reason, a lot of times they skew a little bit lighter because that is the target demographic. Those are the people who are really buying a lot of the cushion foundations. So hopefully as they become more and more popular here, as they seem to be doing, they'll be expanding the color ranges for different brands as well. One other comparison I'd like to know about product details here. The Sisley has a 1-year shelf life. Again, the Cle de Peau has a 2-year shelf life. The Sisley is made in France, whereas Cle de Peau is made in Japan. So overall, I would have to say both the Sisley and Cle de Peau cushion foundations are really nice products. I really do enjoy both of them. Let's do a quick color comparison. This is the Sisley Compact. You can see it is going to be round. And I have shade 00C in here. And don't forget, anytime you are using a cushion foundation, when it starts to seem like one side is kind of running out and you're not getting as much product, you want to actually take out your cushion. You can just kind of lift this up. This little tray here will come out and you can actually flip your cushion over. You can do that a couple of times, probably about 3-4 times even before, you are truly out of product. So definitely make sure that you are truly getting the most out of your product when you purchase these. Now, see, this tray is not fully closed. When I snap this closed, it closes all the way. So as we're looking at this is the Sisley in 00C. You can see it's going to be a little bit deeper and peachier than the I-10 Ivory from the Cle de Peau. This is the Radiant or the Natural from the Fluid Foundation from Cle de Peau in I-10. You can see that the colors match. And this is the Cle de Peau, the foundation, which if you are looking for, you know, something a little bit lighter, moussier, very skincare oriented, this is a product that you may enjoy. And that's the I-10 in there. So you can see that one's actually slightly lighter. And again, that one has a lot of skincare ingredients infused into it. It actually feels more like skincare than makeup when you put that on. So those are the comparisons I have for those. Let's move on to our next product. Next, I want to talk about a new mascara that I've been using, and this was gifted to me. It's from Tok Beauty, and I have to say I'm really enjoying this. So my lashes, I personally prefer mascaras that are lengthening and separating. I really don't like clumpy lashes, and what I love about this mascara is this brush is very, very firm. So it feels more like a comb, like a lash comb. So you feel like coating your lashes and separating them. So if you are somebody who is interested in something like the Surratt Noir Lash Tint, which is one of my favorites, but you want a little bit more oomph than what the Surratt gives you, but you still want the separation you get from a product like that, this is a really good mascara for that. I think this is a great like everyday mascara. It's giving you a little bit more of a natural look. It's not going to be incredibly lengthening or incredibly volumizing, but it gives you great definition and separation. So I am personally really enjoying this, and it's made in Canada. It has a 1-year shelf life and 8 milliliters of product. So I have to say, you know, this is really, really nice. I'm really enjoying this. Moving on, let's talk about the Pat McGrath liquid eyeshadow. So I already have a video on these, but I did get a request to kind of show you guys how these hold up if you pair these with a powder eyeshadow. Is it going to lift away the shadow? Will it settle on the powder very well? Does it get patchy and so forth? So take a look at this demo. I also have, you know, kind of a wear update on this here that I will show you. But overall, I would have to say that these perform really well on top of the powder. So even today, I am wearing the Jones Road Single in Ash kind of all over as a base. And then I am wearing the bronze, what is it? The Platinum Bronze, very lightly buffed over with a fluffy brush over the mobile lid. And the liner is Twilight Platinum. So, you know, I have to say I'm really enjoying these. I've been using them every day since I received them. And yeah, I'm really enjoying these new liquid shadows from Pat McGrath, and I just wanted to share with you how they hold up with the powder. So moving on, we have the new Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wands. So I recently tried the Pink Gasm, the glowy one, just last month, and I did really enjoy it. I think it's a great, easy to use product. So I was excited to see these matte ones. I have to say, I do really like these. So they have a 1-year shelf life. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 colors I picked up. I picked up the light one, which is Pink Pop. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in this color. So this is Pink Pop, but you can see it's really warm peach. So I would not consider this pink. You know, it's not even really a salmon pink. This is like peach. And they have a peach color too. So I was kind of surprised. So I'm not happy with the Pink Pop color. And then this is Pillow Talk. And you can see this is going to be a bit more of a mauvey nude shade. You know, a little bit more on the mauve than the nude. But it's really beautiful. Between the two, I have to say, I prefer the Pillow Talk shade. And actually, I really like the formula of these. I like how these apply. So I'm going to show you these demos here while we talk about these. Now, one of the things I like about the packaging on these is the fact that there is a twisting function. You twist to open it so that the product will flow into the sponge, and then you twist it closed to keep everything fresh. However, overall, I would have to say I don't love the packaging because I don't like things that have these, you know, applicators already built in. I prefer to use my own, and I feel like those things just get dirty and you can't really clean them. So I love the opening and closing feature, but I wish that it didn't have the sponge applicator on top. However, the actual finish of these I think is great. You know, they look beautiful on the skin. They're really easy to blend out. They give you a really natural finish. And they work well on top of foundation or on top of powder. and I've tried both. So overall, there's no difference whether you're using it on top of powder or foundation. They look the same. So I really like them. So these are made in Italy. They have a 1-year shelf life, and we're looking at 12 milliliters of product in here. They are a little pricey for the amount of product that you're getting in here, but I have to say I do really like these. So I would pick up the Pillow Talk again, but I would skip the pink pop because that color is just not what I was going for with this. But I really like the Pillow Talk shade. Now, as you can see in the demos, I have both the pink pop and the Pillow Talk. I did those kind of like as a light everyday look, but I also have them built up for these cheek demos, by request. Some people wanted to see exactly how much you can build them up. They basically will build up to the color of the swatch. So, they go on nicely either with the applicator. I like to use a brush, but you could also just use your fingers or a sponge, and they blend out nicely regardless. Now, today I'm wearing a mix of the pink pop and the Pillow Talk, but I still just prefer just the straight up Pillow Talk on its own. So overall, I think these are a really nice product. If you have liked her, Pinkgasm and other products in the more shimmery line, I think you'll like these matte ones as well. I think they are really nice, very easy to use, not patchy at all, and they hold up pretty well. So let me go ahead and show you the wear test. It has been 8 hours and 45 minutes since application, and this is how everything has worn. You can see the blush, it's still present. It does look like it may have faded a little bit. It looks a little bit lighter to me. I still have not creased. Let me bring you in closer. Overall, everything has held up really well. Of course, the lip balm wore off fairly quickly it wore off during my lunch. So at the end of lunch, it was gone. I had Chinese food, so, that is a little greasy as well. But the lip balm, it's not going to be super long lasting anyway, 2-3 hours probably, and then you'd want to top off. But the eyeshadows held up well. The blush has held up well. I do wish maybe it held up. I think it's faded a little bit. I wish maybe it was still a little bit more pigmented, but I really love the actual texture and finish of it. So I'm still happy with it. Okay, it has been 11.5 hours since application. Nothing's been touched up. And this is how everything has worn. All right, so the blush seems to be about the same as it was at the last update. No further fading or anything. Let me bring you in closer. So as you can see, again, the blush is about the same as the last update. It has definitely faded since application. And the eyes, I feel like, you do see some creasing on there now, but we did make it past that 10-hour wear mark. So they definitely stay true to their claim, even if you put powder underneath. So I think that's pretty good. Now, last up, we're taking a look at the new Givenchy limited edition lip balms. So you can purchase these from the Givenchy website. And they also have a lipstick available in the new Silk Intense line. It's their Carmen Escarpin. It's like a beautiful red. I didn't pick that up. When I ordered these, that was not yet available. So I got the 3 balms. There is a blush in this collection in the loose powder blushes, but I don't think that's going to be available in the US. So if you are interested in that, like I am stalking the Feel Unique website for when those become available. So let's take a look at this packaging here. You can see we've got the Givenchy logo. This is going to be like white and a deep gray for the G's here. And you can see it's kind of got this like quilted leather pattern here. And, like our typical Givenchy lipsticks, you've got the logo on here, you've got the metal bar. This pulls out. These are not refillable. There are 3 shades, and these all have shimmer. So these are limited edition. They have 3.4 grams of product. They're made in France. I don't see any sort of suggested shelf life on here. And, I would have to say they are really beautiful. If you've tried Givenchy lip balms before, these are going to be similar. However, these have a little bit more, they're a little bit firmer, slightly waxier than some of the other ones that I have. And I'll show you those in just a minute. But let's first take a look at these swatches. So overall, as you can see on the lips here, the light pink shade 21, that's essentially going to be clear. You're going to get a little bit of sparkle on your lips, but you're not going to really get any pigmentation. Shade 22 is a gorgeous kind of nude shade, and I've been wearing that one a lot. So I've been wearing these for 4 or 5 days now. That's how long I've had them. And yeah, I've been wearing shade 22 a lot, but I also really like 23, which is what I'm wearing today. These are going to give you a light layer of hydration on the lips. They are moisturizing while they're on your lips, but I don't feel any added hydration from these. And I give them about 2, maybe 3 hours before I want to reapply on these. So they're not going to be super long wearing. They do have a gorgeous shimmer, and I don't feel any grit or texture with these. They do have your typical Givenchy fragrance on here. They have some flower extracts, and according to Givenchy, they are nourishing the lips for 24 hours. I personally don't feel that though. So I would not buy these if you are looking for something like reparative and moisturizing, but if you're looking for a tinted lip balm, this is a great one. And I really think these are just great to like throw in your purse, carry with you. So let's go ahead and take a look at some swatches here. So here is shade 21. This is the pink, and I'm just gonna build that one up there. So you can see there's really no color. I'm not even sure how much you can see it, but you just get a little glisten from the shimmer here. It's very, very finely milled. Next, we have shade 22, and this is more of your like rosewood kind of shade, but it has a little bit more pink than a traditional rosewood. I really like this one, and this is the one that I've been taking with me when I go out. And then 23, I think, is a great light sheer, kind of a pinky red. So it definitely has more of a blue tone base. You know, shade 22 is going to be a little bit warmer, but it's not warm. It's a neutral shade. 23 is definitely going to be cooler, and shade 21, you know, it's essentially translucent. So these are the other Givenchy tinted lip balms I was talking about. These are the Rose Perfecto lip balms, and I have to say I really like these. If you're looking for something a little creamier, these are going to be creamier. This one here is shade 315. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of that right here. You can see these are going to be more pigmented. This one here is going to be more purple. Here we have 303, which is more of a sheer red, and you can see that's going to be more vibrant than anything here. And you can see it's definitely not going to be as cool as shade 23 there. And it's just more pigmented than 22 as well. We also have 333, and let's put that one right here. You can see that's going to be a cooler red, and you know, it's got a little bit of burgundy mix in there. And then we have shade 102 here. Just squeeze that in there. And you can see that this color is going to be closest to shade 22, but it's going to be more pigmented. Again, these are going to be a little bit creamier on the lips, not quite as much of a waxy texture as you get from these newer ones. These are just slightly firmer. So overall, I'm happy with all of these items, and I would love to know what your thoughts are if you've tried any of these, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. I'll see you very soon.